So I now have the distinct pleasure and honor of introducing our keynote speaker, Tamara Rychkov. Tamara is a member of Thermo Fisher's prestigious Finance Leadership Development Program. It's a 2-year rotational program for recent graduates and early professionals and helps to accelerate their paths to future leadership by exposing them to multiple areas of finance, processes, technologies, and leaders across our company. Currently, Tamara serves as a commercial finance analyst for our Patient Advisory Service division. That's part of our clinical research business. So think trialing new medicines before they go to market. Her previous rotations included group finance planning and analysis for life science solutions. That's products and services used for scientific research, like some of the things you used in your challenges this week. And prior to that, operations finance for genetic sciences. Think genetic analysis for cancers and even testing for illnesses like COVID-19. Before joining us full-time, Tamara completed a summer internship with Thermo Fisher while pursuing dual bachelor's degrees in economics and microbiology at the University of California, Berkeley. California? Right here? Yes, okay. During her recent undergraduate years, Tamara used Chilean soap bark trees to research the development of sustainable vaccine adjuvants, or substances that enhance the body's immune response to toxins like viruses and bacteria. Outside of work, Tamara runs the nonprofit Rebuild Ukraine Now, which she founded with her family in 2014 to provide medical supplies and other aid to communities affected by conflict across Ukraine. I'm so delighted to welcome Tamara Rychkov to the stage.
Hello, everyone. Hello. Thank you so much for having me here today. So excited to be here with all of you. You all represent the future of STEM, so I want to start off by taking a moment to congratulate all of you for working so hard to be here. As I talked to some of you at the dinner, I was really impressed. Seeing how much you have already accomplished is so inspiring. I still remember one of my first competitions, a math contest called Math Kangaroo. Have any of you heard of that one before? I'm seeing some nods, show of hands. Show of hands, okay. Okay, I'm glad they still do that. Well, I was in 6th grade when I did that competition, and I still remember that morning my mom and I made the 2-hour trek to San Jose. And as I walked into this super quiet, tense room, I immediately noticed that I was one of the only girls there. Have any of you ever walked into a room and immediately felt like you were out of place or didn't belong? Show of hands maybe in the audience. I don't belong. Yeah, me too. That day, I ended up placing below many of my peers. And as I was looking at my score, my mind started to flood with doubts. Is it because I don't go to a rigorous school in the Bay Area? Am I not smart enough? Is it because I'm a girl? See, I've been there. I get it. At 11 years old, I was not all that confident yet. Although I loved STEM subjects, they didn't really come easily to me. And I always felt like I had to try extra hard just to do okay. But looking back, what I also remember most from that time was that even when I didn't fully believe in myself, my parents always did. My parents are immigrants from Ukraine, and they came to the United States after the collapse of the Soviet Union in the 1990s, when Ukraine and other former republics gained independence. And being a first-generation American made me understand the meaning of sacrifice from a very young age. Are there any other first-gens in the audience here today? Show of hands, maybe? Okay, well, you know the drill. Your parents risked everything to create a life of opportunity for you. So now, it's your turn to succeed. No pressure. You better become either a doctor, lawyer, or engineer, all while balancing the music lessons, after-school programs, and other extracurriculars. No biggie. And boy, did I have big shoes to fill to be successful in America. In Soviet Ukraine, my dad was a pediatric surgeon. But after the Soviet Union collapsed, so did Ukraine's economy. And it flipped my family's lives upside down. For example, one minute, my grandparents' lifetime of savings was worth enough to buy a nice house on the beach. The next, my grandma used those same savings to buy tights, lipstick, and a bag of potatoes at the local flea market. Soon, my dad's patients were paying him with things like socks and candy. Now, you can only survive on socks and candy for so long. So he made the difficult decisions that many immigrants make, to leave everything he knew behind and start over in America. When he arrived in Houston, Texas, my dad spent years taking grueling exams to become a licensed medical doctor in the US. And after he received several offers in surgical residencies, he simply couldn't afford to move. So he accepted an offer in anesthesiology, which was in Houston. Although this was not the specialty that he trained in back home, he found a passion in this new field, helping patients in a different way. And there's also my mom. Now, her journey was no less difficult. She earned her degree in business management in post-Soviet Ukraine. At 20 years old, she met my dad and she followed him to America, excited to continue her business career here. But when she landed, her degree was not being recognized, made even harder by her not having a work permit. So she ended up spending a year writing names on grains of rice before she eventually pursued a degree in nursing. Now, this was not the business career that she built back home, but she found fulfillment in helping others. So, let's go back to me in 6th grade in that math kangaroo competition. There I was, a middle schooler, just like all of you, carrying those doubts and feeling the immense pressure that STEM wasn't just what I was interested in, it was the only way to honor my parents' sacrifices and ensure our family's stability. Now, those doubts continued to follow me into high school. And since STEM subjects never came easily, I continued to feel like I had to prove myself. But just like my parents, I turned my struggle into drive. I decided to take an untraditional path for a high schooler, dual enrollment at community college. In one of my first classes, which was Introduction to Chemistry, I was excited, but also terrified. I was 14, shy, an awkward teenager, and when I first walked into class that day, there was an odd number of students. So when everyone was paired up in lab, I was left alone. Those same doubts started to pipe up in my mind again. Why am I here? No one is my age. I don't belong here. I just want to go home. But the professor noticed, she smiled, and said that we would be partners. And that small act changed everything for me. In that moment, I gained a mentor who solidified my passion for science and helped me develop as a teammate and a leader. In community college, my best friends became 20-something-year-old pre-nursing students, women tackling pre-calculus for the first time, and recent high school grads determined to transfer to a four-year university. Now, I did get lots of, "How old are you?" questions, and "What do you mean your mom has to pick you up after class?" But my friends had no problem studying with me for hours, memorizing amino acids and mapping the central nervous system on whiteboards. Through that experience, I gained not just knowledge, but a community. And little by little, I started to come out of my awkward teenage shell. Afterwards, my determination took me to Berkeley, where I was accepted as a biology major. My hard work had paid off, and I was ready to pursue the path that I worked so hard for, being pre-med. Now, I would definitely make my immigrant parents proud. But soon I found myself in economics classes, fascinated by how markets operate, how people make decisions, and how those decisions ripple through communities. But if I picked up economics as a second major, it meant taking a risk. What if I failed? Couldn't find a job in business like my mom? Was I losing the passion for science and medicine that I've had for so long? There was no longer time to intellectually explore. I had to choose a path. So, I decided to step off the pre-med track. And it paid off. Today, I'm part of Thermo Fisher Scientific's Leadership Development Program, where I get to spend 2 years trying 4 different roles before I decide what's next for me. Each one of my rotations has required the collaboration, creativity, and leadership that I developed along my journey. Now, there were plenty of moments in my journey where I doubted whether I belonged. But that same girl who felt out of place at her first math competition and in community college, she's standing in front of you, the next generation of STEM leaders, telling you something crucial. Your differences aren't your setbacks. They're your power-ups. For me, being shy meant I listened closely and noticed things that others might miss. Being the youngest in my classes taught me to ask questions, even when I felt out of place. And having parents who came from another country helped me connect with people from all kinds of different backgrounds and understand what it feels like to represent more than just yourself. Now, maybe for you, it's being the one who struggles in math or shines in biology, or being the person who brings everyone together in a group project, helping the team succeed when you're still figuring it out yourself. Look around this room. You are the top 30 middle school scientists in America. You earned your place here, but I bet some of you still carry the question I carried. Do I really belong? Let me answer that for you. You belong here, not despite who you are, but because of who you are. The future of science isn't in rooms where everyone looks the same, thinks the same, or comes from the same places. The future of science is in rooms like this one, where different perspectives meet, different stories collide, and curiosity comes in every shape, size, and background. In a few years, you'll all be the ones leading research teams, developing new technologies, solving problems we can't even imagine yet. And when that happens, remember this very moment. Remember that your path to STEM and leadership doesn't have to look like anyone else's. So, here's my challenge to you. Stay curious and keep building your own path. The road ahead isn't always clear. Sometimes you'll take the path that everyone expects, and sometimes you'll forge your own. Both are right as long as they're yours. Thank you all for reminding me why I fell in love with STEM in the first place. Now, go out there and change the world. Thank you.